All right, today we are making sourdough pizza crust. And let me just let you know that this is take 5 of pizza crust. There are so many bad pizza crust recipes out there, I'm telling you what. So I think this one is gonna work. So, starting with 2.5 cups of flour in the bowl. To that 2.5 cups of flour, we need to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So, 1.5 teaspoons of our salt. And into the bowl it goes. All right. Let me go ahead and move these guys out. And then we have 1 cup of nice, fluffy fed starter. So this is, it was sitting out overnight and I fed it. So it's nice and bubbly. Okay. There we go. That's looking awesome. There we are. Just take that, throw it in the sink, and then we've got 3/4 cup of water. Okay, there we go. And then on top of that, pizza crust needs a little bit of flavoring, unless you're going to put a lot of flavoring for toppings on it. And I'm going to go pretty simple. So I'm going to flavor my crust. Here I have just some super cheap Italian seasoning. What that is it's like oregano and basil, a little bit of thyme. Just gives everything just a little bit of a nice flavor pop. Okay. And I mean, the amount of these spices, I'm just winging it. Just do what you know you and your family would appreciate. If you hate something, don't put it in. I'm going to use some garlic powder. I like garlic. If you're not a fan, don't add it. You can obviously, I mean, another thing that would probably be great in here is, speaking of, why don't I see if I have some red pepper flakes, because I think some red pepper flakes would go awesome in here. If I can find some here real quick. As I rifle through my spice cabinet here. Ah, here we go. Give it a little bit of zip. And this is enough pizza crust that it's going to make 2 pizzas. So when you see this all going in, you're like, oh, yikes. Well, it's not going to be super concentrated after we mix it up. Okay, moving along. Now we're going to mix it up until it starts to kind of form a dough. And then we'll start to knead it. So it's real simple. 2.5 cups of flour, 1 cup starter, 3/4 cup of water, and 1.5 tablespoons of salt. Okay, it's starting to kind of pull together. Still got some real wet spots in it though. Okay, scrape down the sides, make sure we don't miss any good stuff there. And I'm sorry if I'm a little bit breathy in some of these videos. You guys are practically sitting on my nose to give you that first-person view. Alright, let's just scrape all this goodness off of this spatula and go in with the bowl scraper. This looks like it's gonna work this time. I feel it. Okay. Oh, it's smelling great. Okay. So I'm just kind of scraping this dry stuff and pushing it in. Okay, now we're dry enough that I think I can go in with my hands and it's gonna be okay. Just kind of knuckle kneading, getting that dry stuff out of the bottom, just like we did with the bread, if you've watched that one yet. It's acting so much better this time. It's gonna work. All right. It is acting so much better this time. It's wonderful. All right, so now I'm just gonna go Make sure anything that got stuck to the side of the bowl, I'm gonna bust it off so we can get it combined into the dough ball. And I'm just continuing to knead the dough ball because there's just a few dry spots and wet spots, so we can kind of get it evenly combined. And what I think we'll do is it's just a good bread technique, is kind of smush it flat and then fold in half, then smush it flat, and then fold in half the other direction, then smush and fold until you folded all 4 directions. So we got one more fold. Perfect. Oh, that's looking beautiful. Just look at that. Look at that. That's wonderful. Oh, it's going to be amazing, you guys. All right. So, pressing it into the bowl, and this is going to need to rise. Same sort of deal. If you want it to rise at room temperature, if you started it in the morning, you might be able to do pizza in the afternoon. The other thing you can do is if you have like one of those back warmer pads, so like it's to like warm your back if you're having a sore back or whatever, you can actually just cover the bowl and sit it on top of that pad, and that'll warm it up. But if you have a garage or something, outside today is in the high 80s, so I'm just going to cover this bowl and then put it out in the garage. But before I cover it, I want to make sure that there's plenty of humidity in the bowl so this doesn't form a skin, so I'm going to give it a shot of water. Okay, 1 shot of water. And then I'm going to grab the lid, and this is the lid trick. So if you have a bowl with a matching lid, what you do is you fold a point. So I ripped a corner off of a paper towel, and then you fold it in half and fold it in half again to make a point. And then if I've got a lot of extra, I'll just rip that off. Take your point, set it on the edge of the bowl, and then put the lid over it. And this will make sure that as the yeast in the dough starts to produce gas, it's not going to blow the lid off. Because I'm going to have this out in the garage. I don't want to find moths and flies crawling on that. That would be tragic. So I'm going to keep it so it can breathe just a little bit. It doesn't need to breathe much, but then it's safe from the bugs. And in your house, in the summer, we tend to get lots of gnats and stuff that we don't want either. So this is going to stay like this. I'm going to go put it out in the garage, and I'm going to guess about 3 hours. At the temperature we've got today, it all depends on the temperature, but here's what it looks like before. It's just nice and humped up. It should relax back down and raise up. So if it relaxes flat and it's raised at least this high, so this is how high it is, about 2 inches or so. Once it raises that much, but it's all the way out to the edge of the bowl, that is what we are going to consider doubled in size, and that means it is ready to be shaped into a pizza and baked. So, catch back up with you then. Alright, we are back with our crust. It has been rising, I believe, for this one. I forgot about it, and it went for 4 hours, but I did check on it at about 2 hours in my garage, and it was okay then, but I wanted to leave it for just a little bit longer. So you can see it has definitely risen, and because we folded it, it actually rose a little bit higher than I thought it might, which is perfectly good. So it's beautiful, and it smells awesome. So what we're gonna do, because we are gonna have to press this out into the pizza pan, we're gonna go ahead and oil our hands. Just really get your hands nice and oiled up so that you don't stick. And let me move you guys forward just a little bit. Okay. All right, so what you're gonna need to do is just and we're just going to jab our fingers in here to knock some of that excess air out of it, because we don't want a bunch of open air bubbles in our crust. Okay, and then we're just going to kind of try and scrape it off of the inside of this bowl. Let me actually grab a bowl scraper. You can just use your fingers and get... we worked pretty hard for this crust. I don't want to leave a bunch of this good dough in the bowl. But let me scoot the bowl over here. Now my hands are oily. Oh. But anyway, here, of course, the day that I go to pick up a pizza pan, just like nice and easy from Walmart in the afternoon, because we got to make this, they have no pizza pans. So this is like a heavy-duty foil thing. But it will work. Go ahead and get that preheating right now. All right. Okay. Now let's get this crust. We're just going to take and roll it and just make sure that there's no real dry spots or anything. And then we're just going to kind of flatten it out. And I'm just going to oil my pan. And then let's get that oil all the way around so you're not going to be sticking. We don't want to stick to the pan. And what's kind of nice is this is how a lot of pizza places do it with their pan-style pizzas as well. Because there is oil in the pan at the bottom, it like fries the bottom of the pizza, which is beautiful. So don't be like, you don't want big pools of oil, but you definitely want like a good coating. So here, I think I'm just feeling around for dry spots. I'm trying to kind of do the edge with my thumb here to make sure we're not going to be sticking there. Get into some of this texture here. Okay. We're looking like we're okay. I'm going to blot a little bit of this extra oil off my hands because it's getting... I don't want to add too much oil to our actual dough. All right. Now, let's pull that dough back out. And then just kind of stretch it with your hands. Should be nice and semi-pliable now. There are some herbs in it, so it is going to want to rip a little bit. But let's just put it on the pan. And then just kind of gently massage it out. Let me get this out of the way. Okay. And if you stretch it too far, you can always just kind of staple it back together by pinching it with your fingers. And you can just kind of run your hand and push to kind of squish it out if it's a little bit thick in spots. And it is going to want to pull back towards the center, so that's just how it is. Your pizza isn't going to stick to your pan, which is what we want after all. Okay. Let's see if we can't just stretch around the edges here a little more. All right. That's starting to look pretty good. And the way you can tell a homemade pizza from a, store-bought pizza is they're never going to be quite perfectly round. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And what we are going to do with the top of this pizza is we're going to hit it with some sauce. Some pizza sauce of your choice. Make sure not to be stingy. All right, and I've got... Actually, you know what? Let's not dirty that just yet. Let's use this bowl scraper. This might be... Oh, that's the ticket. Recycling, I love it. Less dishes to wash. Except my hands were dirty when I touched that other one, so I'm still going to have to wash it. Okay, and you want to leave yourself a little bit of crust at the edge, but just kind of scrape your sauce around here. So again, just gonna take our handy dandy paper towel, wipe off the extra. Now, for cheese, I am going to let you in on a secret. Shredded cheese, I swear, is what they do with the cheese that either they make really cheap or doesn't turn out right. And it's just not as good. So I actually buy solid blocks of cheese, and then you just cut them up until you get like little pieces like this that are, you know, you cut them into almost what looks like a pat of butter, and then you just kind of arrange them on your pizza, and they melt out, and they make the most beautiful layer of nice golden brown cheese on your pizza. And it's just so much better a quality of a cheese. It melts better, it tastes better, it looks better. I just cut a whole bunch of it. So I'll save that other one for another pizza. And if you wanted to, this does a pretty large pizza. So if you wanted to do, maybe your family doesn't all like the same flavor or something, you might be able to do a half and half pizza that's larger like this. This is a almost 16-inch pan. So this would definitely be a large pizza. But if you wanted to do two more like medium pizzas, like 12-inch little pizzas, you could do one way and one the other. Or you could do this in a sheet pan type of situation. And of course, if you got a bigger family, double the recipe. All right. So let's pepperoni it, and then let's get it in the oven. There we go. Perfect. All right. All right, we are ready to pull out the pizza. So, let me get this baby pulled out. Ouch. There we go. Okay. So, the topping is nice and brown, fully cooked. The crust is nice. You can see it is fully cooked. You can still see our herbs in there. Okay, and this is how you're going to check if it's done. I actually had to tweak this. I put this in an oven that was just a little too hot to begin with. And then I had to turn it down and finish it because the bottom of my crust, yeah, now it's done. It was still a little bit undercooked. So what our ideal temperature is going to be about 350 degrees. Okay, 350 degrees is going to cook this all evenly, so your top doesn't get done too fast and your bottom doesn't get done too fast. I got impatient and put it up to 400. That is just too hot. You end up with cooking your toppings and not getting the bottom done. So 350 is the magic temperature on the oven. And this is just looking beautiful. I can't wait to cut into this baby. So give it a try. 350, and I'm gonna say I'm still gonna have you guys just check it out and see how everything's doing at 20 minutes. Gauge it by the toppings. If the toppings are done, then just kind of take it, grab a spatula and just take a peek under there. It'll look a little blonde under there, but just kind of make sure that that middle is not doughy. Nobody likes a doughy middle in their pizza. So if you really like a really crispy crust, you might actually turn the oven down to like 300 and cook it a little extra long. So like 300 for a half an hour would help really dry up that middle before the toppings were getting done. So if you want a softer pizza, with just like a nice, more of a chewy pizza, you're gonna go for 350 for about 20 minutes before you check it for the first time. If you're going for a more crunchy pizza, I'd turn it down a little more and cook it a little longer, okay? So 350 for chewy, 300 for crunchy. On the chewy, we're 350 for 20 minutes before you check it for the first time for doneness of your toppings. And then for the crunchy, 300, probably about a half an hour. And before you completely leave and try and serve it, just lift it up and take a peek under, okay? If you peek under and the middle is good, you are done. And we are done. So have fun doing your pizza. This is the 5th time's the charm, and I think we've got it fully dialed in. The dough is really easy. We just needed that last little timing step, and we got it. Have a good time, and I hope you enjoy the pizza.